Well, my district obviously represents the University of Alabama area and a lot of the downtown neighborhoods going back towards downtown. The most concentrated district, mainly because of the student population. So geographically, like Bob was saying about his, mine's the smallest because we're packed in when and condos and apartments, and so we have a really small district, and it's probably going to get even smaller come when we have to redistrict, because the census numbers that we look like we're going to get are going to push Tuscaloosa upwards of close to 100,000 people. Last census we did was like 77,000 people. And so each district has to have that divided by 7 districts, 11,000 people. So what we're hearing and what we're seeing and what we really wanted to see was that all students that are here at the University of Alabama be counted in the census in Tuscaloosa. One of the reasons why I ran for office when I was 22 in school, just like you all, was to try to have some representation, obviously, for the university and a younger perspective, so to speak. Of course, we're all considered young up here too. I'm just a little bit younger, but one of the things that I studied when I was looking to form my political strategy to win was, I'm going to have register a lot of students that are probably registered in Geneva, Alabama, or Clarksville, Tennessee, and I got to convince them. How in the world am I going to get them to convince them to say they need to change their voting to Tuscaloosa? And so, one of the things I kept pushing, saying, look, all right, you're here for 4 years, some of us a little bit longer. I was on the 9-semester program, some of us 10, 11, 12, whatever. And then some folks end up maybe going to law school or graduate school, and, next thing you know, some of them end up living here, especially now. 10 years later with what's going on, the only restaurant downtown when I was running for office was De Palma's. There was not a nightclub, another restaurant. There was no riverfront activity. There was no expanded stadium. There was no amphitheater. The Strip wasn't redone. Paul Bryant looked like junk. It just, 10 years, Tuscaloosa's come a long way, especially in this core area, downtown area, around the campus area. In my opinion, in the right direction, especially for folks that may be thinking, hey, I may not leave Tuscaloosa. I like it. I may stay here, at least go to grad school, and maybe get a job here. And so one of the things we were looking at was what the census said. Back in the 70s, the census started counting college students where they went to college and not where they left their parents' house. Not many of us are going to, after college, go, Mom and Dad, come back, Not many. It happens sometimes, and that's fine, but not many. And so one of the things that's going to be interesting to see is when we get into redistricting, because the college, the University of Alabama did a great job this year of making sure that we got as many students counted as possible. Because the higher that census number is, the more federal dollars the city of Tuscaloosa gets, and all the various other funding mechanisms that we get money from other governments, so to speak. But anyway, I won't bore you with that. I gave you a little bit of history about me, and I was able to also teach you a little bit about the census at the same time. I guess Bob would tell you, I'm more like the left brain kind of idea guys, and then Walt, the mayor's, he's got some good ideas too, but he's a real good implementer, and Bob, they're good at just getting things done. I just like to come up with harebrained ideas and try to sell them and get everybody on the train, and so I've been doing that for 13 years now, and we've had a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the job. I'm big into physical improvements for the city. One of the first projects I worked on when I got elected was the Strip. I'm trying to think. Y'all might have been 6 or 7 or 8 when that happened, but that really throws it into perspective. But it didn't have all what it's got now. It was just unlit, sewer smelled like, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible, and had an old church that had been shut down with asbestos all in it where Publix is, and there's just an old big black sea of asphalt where the like the Cold Stove Creamery shopping center was. Sidewalks were all crumbled up, etc. And so one of the things that I felt like we needed to do, of course, it still had a lot of the nightlife and everybody enjoyed it, but it wasn't well lit. It didn't have emergency blue phones. The physical appearance of it looked like crap. It basically sent a message to parents, when they want to bring their kids to school here. This is just New Orleans, basically in the middle of Alabama. And, so one of the things that we worked on was getting some funds to streetscape the Strip, and then after we did that, we started working with Bayer Development, who did the summit in Birmingham. They came down, they saw what we were going to do, and we said, you know, we need y'all to help here. University worked alongside with us, and then that's when the Publix was built, and then when church was taken down, the Publix was built, and then obviously the other development that's happened, and y'all seen it, you know, get better and better. And downtown has kind of done the same thing. You know, we're starting to put in the dollars to make it look better. You're starting to see more private business come down there. Obviously, Senator Shelby's been an incredible help. You know, calling Tuscaloosa his hometown, and he knows how to make it happen. You know, he can bring the money home, even though I don't think there's much more left in Washington anymore for a while. But we got our fair share. So he's done a great job with that, and I think you're seeing downtown's landscape get even better. You know, the riverfront was something that I had always had a passion for, because I'd get ride down there and you'd just be trees and old Corps of Engineer building and nothing else. I mean, the only thing that was on the river 10, 12 years ago when we started, you know, really starting to invest in the riverfront by building the river walk and all those other things that we needed to do to get started, was Cypress Inn. That was it. There was nothing else down there. And, you know, we were able to get a team together from the community and come together and apply for some state grants, you know, 80-20 money. We put up 20%, state puts up 80%. We got 3 or 4 or 5 of those grants, and that's what eventually built the Riverwalk. And then, of course, tied that in with what the university's park down there, crossing the dorms. And now we're one section away, which will go to bids in another month, that'll connect all of that together across from the library, and then the river market will be built right there where the Corps of Engineers is, which I'm just as excited about that as I am the amphitheater, because it's going to have, you know, it's going to be a market that's open 2 days a week. The rest of the time, you know, it can be rented out for, you know, y'all want to have a college party down there. I mean, there's not many places to do that now. And a whole 300 people right there on the riverfront with parking and everything. But the market's going to be really nice. You can go buy fresh vegetables, flowers, arts and crafts, seafood. I mean, it's going to be something really, really neat. If you want to kind of get an idea as to what our market's going to look like and also feel like, go to Little Rock River Market and just Google that and see all what's going on there, and I think you'll be excited about it. We are, and if everything works out, I guess it'll be open this time next year, or towards the middle of late fall of next year. And then, of course, the amphitheater, obviously, that's going to be the anchor for downtown, the riverfront area, you know, period, for community to come together and enjoy, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe national touring acts a year, but also battle the bands, gospel festivals. You know, people, y'all know about what it's like to get in an Alabama game. It wasn't like that when I was in school, but you know, we may have the games live down there at the amphitheater for people who can't get in the stadium.